in the last few sessions, we have been slowly introducing you all to the varying websites that you as leaders will use in your term and as well as when you're in Rotary. So today we are going to focus on MyRotary. But before I get into MyRotary, just want to bring up a slide that we had used in our past sessions, just to give you the overall lay of the lands in terms of, hey, broadly speaking, what are the varying websites that you come across and where today's session is gonna take you to. Okay, so we looked at varying websites from Rotary International. We looked at websites related to the zone, and then in the last session, Wayne, as usual, did a fantastic job of walking through the DAGDB, aspects within DAGDB and so forth. We will continue to add more context. Say, for example, we'll have one more deep dive on DAGDB, deep dives on other zone websites or international websites based on your feedback. So please do let us know if there are certain areas that you think you are unsure, you are not too clear. Please let us know. We will zoom in more on that. Okay. So before I start off with MyRotary, just want to touch base on DAGDB slightly, and then I'll come to MyRotary. Early on in I think the first session, we had a poll out there asking for, hey, have you used MyRotary? Have you used DAGDB? I think we had a majority of the responses saying that they might have used either of these, but we did receive certain feedback that they're not too clear on the differences between the two. So I'll start there and then I'll move on to MyRotary. Okay. Wayne had explained this when you walk through DAGDB. So DAGDB is district and club database. So I'll piggyback on his term that he used. It's a database of information. And DAGDB is not a Rotary International offered service. So DAGDB is a private entity, is a private service that our district chose to use. Okay, so there are many other districts in the US that use DAGDB as a database for the district information. But to be very clear, it is no way a service provided by Rotary International. Okay, so to manage our district, our membership within the district, Rotary does not enforce that you have to use this or that. You could even use a Google Sheet or Excel sheet as long as you can manage. But we as a district, many, many years ago, decided that to manage our district in a better way, we need an online database, and we chose DAGDB. And every year, as part of the district technology fund, we are paying for DAGDB. Okay, so I think almost all of you in today's call, you are all using DAGDB. If you're not using DAGDB for your club, please reach out to me. I would like to understand why not. We definitely want you to get onto DAGDB. I know there are some improvement opportunities in DAGDB, but overall as a district, we want to be on DAGDB. We want to make sure that is maintained, and we are paying for it. So best use of the money that we spend. Okay. So the main difference between MyRotary and DAGDB. Okay, I'll zoom in a bit on that. So MyRotary is the database that Rotary International maintains. DAGDB is a database that the district maintains. So obviously, most of the information are going to be the same in MyRotary as well as in DAGDB. So it is very important to keep the information between the database used by the district and the database used by Rotary International, because they have to always be on sync. So when Wayne ended his session last time, he focused on a particular component within DAGDB called RA integration or RA compare. That module within DAGDB syncs the information from DAGDB onto Rotary International. Okay, so it is a one-way sync. So if you change something in MyRotary, it will not sync back into DAGDB. However, if you change in DAGDB, it gets synced to MyRotary. Okay. Bottom line is, we have informed Rotary International that, hey, to manage the data from the clubs in our district, we have delegated that to DAGDB. So we trust DAGDB to make changes in Rotary International on our behalf. So that is why it is a one-way sync. So when any changes that we do in DAGDB, either overnight or in a specific frequency, gets updated in MyRotary. So my request is, when you are trying to make some changes around your members, their member data, club specific information, try to do it in DAGDB, because that will get you onto the Rotary International website as well. Okay. Obviously, there are going to be certain areas that we will look today that you can only do in Rotary International websites, not in DAGDB. All right. So before I go forward with MyRotary, any questions on what I just explained? I know I threw a lot of terms like database, synchronization, things like that. So any questions before I start off? Okay. All right. All right. So I'm going to assume some of you in the call have not used MyRotary. So I'm going to start with basics, and we will progress along. Okay. So the first question is, how do you get to MyRotary? There are many ways you can reach out to MyRotary. You can just Google MyRotary. That will give you the link to the MyRotary. So starting simple, this is our Rotary International website that you're seeing on my screen. And on the top, you see a link called MyRotary. You can also reach MyRotary by going through some of these links. For example, there is a section in our Rotary International website called For Members. If you look at some of these links, as you click these links, it will actually take you to MyRotary. Okay. So as I explained in our first session, the difference between a Rotary International website and MyRotary is Rotary International website is a public website. The data that you see does not require you to log in. But when you go to MyRotary, you will be asked to sign in to MyRotary to get the data of it. Okay. So I just clicked MyRotary. This is the landing page for MyRotary. If you have signed in already, you will see a slightly different view. This view is for those who have not even logged into MyRotary yet. Okay. So it gives you a good amount of information about what's happening in the Rotary world. And predominantly, there are two choices. One is sign into MyRotary or register for an account. Okay. If you have not registered for a MyRotary account, I highly recommend you do that. There is a simple how-to guide. So when I say you, not necessarily yourself, but your club members as well. We will share this link or this PDF, just a 3-step process on where to go to register, how to create an account. So first thing is click on register on the MyRotary website. It'll ask you to fill some information, very, very basic information like first name, last name, email address. Are you older than 18 years? Then continue. Then the second step is to activate your account. This is where you create your password. And once you provide your password and security question, you click on continue. So note that anybody in the world can create a MyRotary account. So far, you didn't see a single question around which club they are involved with. Okay, so anybody in the world can create a MyRotary account. The last piece, which is the third step, is where your membership status is asked. Okay, so you normally get an email or a follow-up question which says that, hey, are you a member? And then you can provide information accordingly. Okay, so they have improved this process over the years. I think it was a bit convoluted before, but it's pretty simple 3-step process to get a MyRotary account. Okay, and if your information is already in DAGDB, DAGDB will try to synchronize the district database with the Rotary International database, and it will find that based on your first name, last name, email address, the information that you provided to MyRotary, it will try to match what we already have in the district. And you, as your club president or club secretary, you will be able to make sure whoever is in your club, as you added them in DACDB, they are properly mapped to the MyRotary account. I would highly recommend, if possible, the secretaries to do it on a periodic basis, because Wayne mentioned this last time, is sometimes there is a mistake or a typo in the first name, last name, or email address, or some of the user attributes. So the databases that is from the district cannot map to the database on the international, and the club secretary will be able to see that as part of their club module within DACDB. Okay. All right. Any questions so far on registering an account? Let me see, there is a chat. Yeah, Paul, how often does DACDB update RI? I can get back on the specific timing. I believe it's a daily update, but I can get back to you on exactly what time of the day they update it. Okay. And I think you also have an option to trigger a synchronization, like an ad hoc basis. You can also, as a club president or secretary, when you go to DACDB, there is a RA compare module. You can click on synchronization, and that will try to do that in an ad hoc manner. If that area is of interest, we will spend more time in our upcoming sessions just to go through that. Okay. All right. So today we are going to look at intro to MyRotary and some of the components within it. So let me just sign in to MyRotary. Just go ahead and sign in. Okay. I hope the demo god doesn't play against me. It's always that when you demo something, it doesn't work. All right. Okay. So I have signed in as so-and-so. This is my email address. So I've signed in. So now when you scroll down, you will see additional information that you did not see before. Primarily, you see now a snapshot of the club that you're part of. And then you have an option to go to your profile. So these are specific to you and your club. So this information gets populated based on your information with Rotary International. Okay. And if you go down, there are a good amount of information around what's happening in the Rotary world, some links the Rotary International wants to promote, for example, information like action plan, DA task force, or annual reports. These are featured links. These are the links that Rotary International wants to promote so that, as Rotarians, we understand what's happening. There will be some upcoming announcements in case of Rotary International, some due dates that you'll also get to know. What we'll focus a bit more today is on a subset of these online tools. Okay. And the last piece that you'll see in your MyRotary page is My Messages. It is a mailbox. It's like an online mailbox tied to your Rotary ID. So any Rotarian out there in the world, if they want to reach out to you, this is also an option. Rather than knowing your email address, which could be used in unwanted manners, they can just message you directly from MyRotary without knowing your email address and other details. It will just come to your MyRotary inbox. I think there is a link at the top, or it will show up here. Yeah. I think it will show up in one of the alerts over here. So that's the My Messages piece. Today we'll talk a bit about Rotary Club Central, which is one of the online tools you can navigate from MyRotary. Last session, fantastic session with Kathy. She touched based on Brand Center. Then the third is Rotary Showcase. Rotary Showcase is a place where you get to know about upcoming global projects, ongoing global projects, or projects that have successfully completed in the past. Okay, so many a times I'm also part of the grants committee for the district. So many times we get questions around, hey, we want to do a global project, but we don't know whom to partner with. We want to know what is out there. Please go to Rotary Showcase. As I click through Rotary Showcase, you will see that there are options to filter projects that Rotary is involved in. And there is an option called Proposed Seeks Global Grant Partners. So in case in your Rotary year, you have a goal or aspiration to work on a global grant, and if you don't know what's happening around, this is a great place to go and click on search. It will list all the projects that somebody out there is looking for help. Okay, and there are contacts then and there, and then you can just click and reach out to them and say that you are interested. Okay, so that is Rotary Showcase. It takes some time to get back the search results, so let me not wait on it. I'll go back to MyRotary. Coming back to the online tool section, we just talked about Rotary Showcase. The fourth one, which I think should be a session on its own, we will do that down the line, is Learning Center. So Kathy, in her public image presentation, also talked about Learning Center. I really like this. It's relatively new, and they are adding a lot of content to this, which is more relevant, more up to date. So I highly recommend, if there are new members in your club, if they don't know what Rotary is, or if you have new members taking some leadership role within the club, what that is, send them to learn, Rotary Learn. That is the most official place to learn about what Rotary is and what are the roles out there. Okay, and I think Kathy mentioned specifically on the public image, which then takes you to a set of videos that talks about what public image is. Okay, so I just clicked on club leadership. This gives a filtered set of learning materials specific for roles within the club. For example, club president basics. I'm sure you might find something new, even though you might have been in Rotary for quite some time. You might find something new as part of this learning training or learning video. So please, take some time to click through this and see, if you can learn something from here. All right. Let me go back to MyRotary. And if you have any questions, please stop me then and there. So we looked at Learning Center, just skim through it. And then the last piece is called discussion groups. Again, this is a great way to get connected with other Rotarians in the world. You can participate in a discussion group, or you can create your own discussion group. You can even start your own group. If you have a common problem, you want inputs from the rest of the Rotarians in the world, start a group, understand what the other person's perspective is. And there are a lot of groups that you can join and get to know more. For example, Rotary Action Group. It was referred in, I think, Kathy's presentation. And there are focus groups based on our areas of focus. Like there is a group just for environment, there is a group just for maternal health, and so forth. So you can join these groups and exchange ideas with other Rotarians. Okay. All right. So those are the high level, major functionalities within MyRotary that I would recommend. There are many more. For today, we'll just zoom in on Rotary Club Central. Okay. So before I go to Rotary Club Central, as I clicked on Rotary Showcase, it started to search for projects that are global grants that are looking for partners. I think the search results have come out. So as you can skim through, there are projects in Ecuador, there are projects in Kenya, Peru, n number of projects out there where they need help. So your club could become a partner club in that global grant. Okay. All right. Coming back to MyRotary, I'll click on Rotary Club Central. Okay. So this is a dashboard. A dashboard is a place where you get to know statistics about your club in a more visual manner. So there are certain statistics that the Club Central itself has put forward, and you do have options to export the raw data and do some more manipulations if you want. Okay, and I'll show how to do that. Okay, so this dashboard gives a view of your club based on some of the roles you play. You could access other club information. For example, if you're in a district, you have some more rights. But at least for today's conversations, let's assume we are focused on your club or a specific club. Okay, we just came out of the membership talk, which was enlightening. So this gives a good view of how your club is performing over the last 5 years. Okay, obviously my club, probably similar to the district trend that we saw, is taking a dive, but we are trying to get to normalcy, at least not go down, but at least maintain or have some form of saturation at a point. So yeah, and then it gives information about the gender in your club, and Andy also mentioned about his club in terms of a lack of female participation, something that he might want to think about. So you can get that information directly from here. How many members in your club. Obviously these information are fed from DAGDB, so there are reports in DAGDB that you can also use, but you can also use the reports from Club Central. Okay, and there is age trend. This gives a good idea of how many people in your club are in what age range. As you can see, many in my clubs are in the range of 60 to 69. So as Jim highlighted, taking bold steps, you also need to understand your club's user base, if I may call that. You need to understand your club's vibe. So whenever you look at strategy or take bold steps, please do factor some of the dynamics within the club. Okay. The next two sections, which talks about project trends, these are information that is directly fed to Club Central. So these are not pulled from DAGDB. So if you are a club president, I highly request you, as part of your tenure, please go and update the projects that you're working on into Rotary Club Central, because these are the information that is shared with Rotary International. And for the work that we do in the community, I think it is our obligation to report it to Rotary International. Okay, my club can do a better job of adding this, so I need to take that feedback back to my president or president-elects. So that's the dashboard view. You have multiple views. You can see a global view that gives a global membership trend, how we are going. So whatever we discussed at a club level, you can look at it from a global perspective, and then your zone, then look at your district. This just gives you an indication of how are we performing overall in varying levels of hierarchy. Okay, I see a chat, so let me get to that. Okay, how frequently are these numbers updated? I noticed this was showing July data. Let me make a note of that question, and I'll get back to you specifically on the frequency or tenure when it is updated. Okay, my expectation, it should be updated on a more regular basis, but if it is showing July data, then I need to get back to you on that. Okay, all right, so the left pane has links to a few other things that you can do in Club Central. The first and foremost link, the Goal Central, is going to be very key for you as you define your year. This is where you define your club goals. Okay, so these club goals are, at least the criteria are predefined, and there are varying categories like goals based on membership and engagement, goals related to foundation, goals related to service, goals related to young leaders, and public image. These are high level definitions of goals set by Rotary International, but you as club leaders have the option to go and set what you want to aspire to be. Okay. For example, let me go to foundation goals. For example, this will come up as the foundation team starts to get involved. They will start to enforce this. So every year, if you want to apply for a district grant, you must go and update your foundation goals. Okay, so you will be compelled to do this at a point, but you can start preparing in advance. So what you could do is you can start to set goals for your club or when you're in your tenure and edit and say that, okay, this is my goal for my year, for my club. Okay, so the Rotary International or the district do not enforce exact goal or the measurement of goal, but they set the guardrails or boundary line on what are the areas that they're going to look for. So it is all up to you to define for your own club based on your dynamics and what you can do. Okay. This edit option is typically available for president, secretary, and I think president-elects as well. But it might be a good exercise as you form your team, have them go and check if they have the right permissions to make changes to the goals. And if you need help, please reach out to me or to this group. We will definitely make sure the questions are answered. Okay, that is the goal center. Any questions so far? Okay, let me put up chat. There is a question. Kenny is asking, will you show them how to update the info? Yeah, I think I just did, Kenny.
No, so I was thinking about where you were going back on the grants, the different projects. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You were saying that your club could do a better job of updating that info. That's not as important as this goal center stuff is.
Oh yeah, I'm going to show that. Show that. Yeah.
All right.
So sure. So Kenny's question was, when I was showing the dashboard, there were two charts like project trends. Where is this information coming from? So I mentioned that this does not come from DAGDB. You need to use the Club Central itself to update it. So he was asking, where do you go to update it? So I'm going to show that. Okay. So we looked at Goal Central. Then a global view is primarily around whatever we saw in the Goal Central across the globe, what's happening, how many people have completed their goals or set the goals. So that's more a global view. The third link is called service activities. This is where you fill information about your service projects and the hours you spend around it. That gets populated on the graph that I showed on the dashboard. Okay, so it is pretty free form. And then it asks for some information in terms of number of volunteers, number of hours, any contributions that you have done. These information then gets fed into your dashboard that you see here, the project trends and funding and volunteers and so forth. Okay, so if you are doing service projects, please, I know this is an additional effort, but you could delegate this to some of your other chairs within your board to do this on a periodic basis. Probably you can have some quarterly checkpoints to see that, hey, you as vocational service chair or community service chair for the club, have you gone ahead and did this? Right. I know we do club forums probably every quarter. I think that's a good place to put a checkpoint and see if we updated it or not. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. I would really request you all to go through Club Central, post this session and click around. I'm sure you'll have some more questions after that. Please do let us know. I'll try to wrap up in the next 4 minutes, and then, if there are further questions, we can have one more session on this. Service activities is what we looked at. The next link is again a great link for people looking for information, resources, one thing I find about Rotary is there are a lot of information, but getting to the information has been a challenge. And Club Central has done a fantastic job of guiding the leaders to the most official information. Okay, so there are information about how to set goals, whatever I just walked through. There are how-to articles on how to do that. There are resources about membership, membership assessment tools. Then there are resources about how to bring in young leaders, what are the different programs that are available. And then service resources, how to engage members, district grant, global grant. Any area that you think as a leader you want more information, please come to Club Central and click on resources. This is a great place to start off and understand what's out there. Many of what Kathy covered is here, like public image resources. Now, visual guidelines. She pulled up the visual guidelines and walked us through that. She talked about Rotary video. She talked about Brand Center. All of that is coming from one place. You can just come to Club Central and then click from here. Okay. A key thing to note is a Rotary citation. Rotary citation is provided to a club if they meet the goals. Okay. So we would highly recommend that you aspire to obtain a Rotary citation. But to be eligible for a Rotary citation, you have to come to the Club Central, update your goals, and keep updating them, like not just creating the goals, but periodically coming and updating it, saying that, yeah, end of the year, you have achieved the goals, or you have achieved 60%, 80% of the goals that you wanted. So that leads you to qualify for a Rotary citation for your club. Okay. So the information about what this Rotary citation is, what needs to be done, is all available in Club Central itself. So under resources, there's something called Rotary citation webpage. Okay. So this is a one-stop shop for club leaders, in my perspective. So please do check this out. The last piece is something that I really got surprised as I was preparing for this session, is the reports. I personally did not click some of these reports, but I was preparing for this session and I was clicking on some of these reports. They are fantastic reports. They are fantastic reports in terms of things that you might want to look at. For example, Andy mentioned about memberships leaving the club, members leaving the club. So there is a report for termination. It gives you a trend on, how are you losing members, what tenure they have been in Rotary. For example, from 2016 to 2021, we have lost a lot of members in our club. And if you see the trend, many of those whom we lost had been in Rotary for more than 10 years. I can definitely call out a lot of good Rotarians from our club leaving. And one reason that I can say is exhaustion. As the 80-20 rule, right? Like the 20% always works more than the others. That 20% were those who are greater than 10 years. And after a point, they got exhausted because they were continuously the same set of people doing things again and again and again. So that could be the reason why we have 26 people who were more than 10 years leaving our club. So that's a good indication for us in our club strategy, is how to reduce exhaustion, how to tend to people who have been with the club for more than 10 years. So these reports are in your fingertips. Please do look at it. There are a lot of reports at a district level. There are a lot of reports at regional club level. However you want to look at it, please do check this out. I just took an export. So in addition to using the reports directly on the screen, you also have an option to export. So at the top, you will see an option to export. So once you click on export, it will allow you to export the report in multiple formats. For example, I want to look at an Excel sheet and then just click on OK. It downloads an Excel sheet. From there, I can do some more statistical analysis if I want, because sometimes the online report doesn't render well, like you don't see more than 2-3 pages. So it is better to download the report and understand, some more of the data. Okay. Let me click on one of the reports that I opened. So this report gives information about gender. This is more on a global view. How many percentage are female, how are male, self-described, and so forth. As you can see, not a surprise. I'm from India, where Rotary is quite popular. So let me check on India, and then we'll come to United States. So hold on 1 minute. Yeah. Row number 24. India has more than 170,000 members, but only 15% are female. I can vouch for that. Female participation in India is very less. We need to improve. But you would be surprised how much is happening in the United States. Let me go to United States. Sorry. And in the United States, 33% are female Rotarians, 66% are male Rotarians. You would be surprised, right? So 1/3 are female, 2/3 are male. You can slice and dice this at multiple levels. Like you can just look at from your club perspective, you can look at from a district perspective, zone, and global. But at least it will give you an idea on what are the areas that you might want to improve in your club when you take the leadership. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? Okay. So I hope this was informative, and at least you had one area that you have not thought about before. So if you have more questions, please send it our way. Again, we are open for feedback. We want to know what you need so that we can plan our sessions accordingly. Okay, I'll stop sharing here. Or let me do one thing. Let me put up my slide.